Zomboys. Alright, hey everybody. Welcome back to Zomboys. This is episode 13.
Lucky episode number 13.
Yeah, I mean, you might see a little confusion. We kind of accidentally skipped an episode. We didn't title one, or we didn't...
Yeah, we didn't number it because it was wild card. We weren't sure.
We forgot
how it was going to get numbered in there.
Yeah, so this is technically 13. And today we watched World
War Z.
I feel like I already fucked up this whole episboard.
Well, thanks a lot. We'll restart from the beginning. Welcome to Zomboys, everybody.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for welcoming. Oh boy.
All right, let's start again. Welcome to Zomboys, everybody.
Oh my god. All right, we just had to start 3 times because I'm having problems today, apparently.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 13.
That's what I always say. I said that once.
Oh yeah. I always attribute that to you when I say that. This is episode 13. We forgot to number wildcard, so there might be a little confusion. I'm sure nobody cares about that. Today we watched World War Z, the well-known zombie movie starring Brad Pitt. I am your host, Casey Lynch, here with my co-host, Mr. Bucket.
I just thought it'd be real funny if Casey went to go throw it to me and I just sat there completely silent, like no one else was in the room.
I thought you were going to do Mr. Bucket.
No.
Aww.
I was going for comedic timing.
Okay, well, it didn't work. This is my co-host, Miss Mike.
Mrs. Andweeches.
This is my co-host, Mrs. Andweeches. Oh, this is already a mess, huh? Let's get into this movie.
So, World War Z, 2013.
Yep.
It came out. PG-13, which is why there wasn't a lot of zombie kill scenes in it.
Yeah.
So it's a PG-13 movie. Plot of this movie, if you don't know it. Former United Nations employee Jerry Lane traverses the world in a race against time to stop the zombie pandemic that's toppling armies and governments and threatening to destroy humanity itself. My main problem with this movie is that Brad Pitt spells Jerry with a G.
Oh, man, yeah. The movie was perfect except for that.
Like Jeffrey the Giraffe for Toys R Us.
Jeffrey, get it together, man.
No wonder why you're going out of business, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
You spelled Jeffrey with a G like a bunch of...
What are they thinking?
Fucking idiots.
Gary, that's a G name. Exactly. Greg, not Jeffrey or Jerry.
No. Jeffrey and Jerry are both J names. Idiots.
Yeah. Okay.
Now... If you're a Jerry or a Jeffrey and you spell your name with a G, you're an idiot.
Yeah, and if you spell Jim with the G, that's wrong. Unless the Jim.
It would be G-I-M.
Yeah.
Jim.
Okay.
Jim.
So I'm glad we were on topic. Alright, so yeah, we watched this movie. Let's get into it.
What are these zombies?
Oh yeah, forget about that segment every time. These are the worst zombies probably ever. I hate these zombies. I hate them both in look, in the way they act, and also purely on a survival standpoint. So they're like super duper fast moving, stronger than normal, which doesn't make sense. It's dumb. We'll talk about them climbing on top of each other.
They are very similar to, and I know you haven't seen it yet, but 28 Days Later.
I've seen that.
Oh, you have seen 28 Days Later. They're very similar, like 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Where it was the same thing. They were really fast.
Yeah.
Like faster than they normally would have been.
Yeah.
And they were like stronger, and they seem to be even like more intelligent.
Yeah.
To a point.
They have some weird intelligence to them. And in this movie especially, I haven't seen 28 Days Later in a while, but in this movie especially, they have a lot of like precognition almost, where they like know where they should go. Like they go places for no reason other than that the plot makes sense for them to go like in that specific direction.
And then in like other parts, they're like towards the end of the movie when they're in the World Health Organization building.
Yeah.
And they're just all kind of like standing around. They are like the dumbest zombies ever.
Yeah. It's just...
So they're either like the dumbest zombies ever or the smartest zombies ever.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
And we'll talk about it more as we go on, but I mentioned how like every plot beat is so contrived. Like everything they do is just for the plot and doesn't make sense logically. There's so many logical leaps you have to make to be like, yeah, this movie makes sense. And it's kind of disappointing because we remember people not liking this movie.
I remember definitely people giving this movie a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Does it deserve as much shit as it got? I don't think so.
I think it does.
It wasn't a good movie.
No.
But it wasn't a terrible movie.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't Dawn of the Dead 2 episodes of ranting about how much I hate Zack Snyder and this movie.
No, this is not as bad as Dawn of the Dead.
It's not nearly as bad.
No.
It's not even as bad as like Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies.
No.
It wasn't as bad as Titties Till Tuesday Productions.
Oh my god, that was
terrible movie.
Yeah. This movie is just fine. It's a fine zombie movie.
Here's my thing, is I was a fan when the World War Z book came out.
Yeah.
I was a fan of that book, and it was really cool, and it was like a bunch of... For those of you who haven't read the book, go out and read it. It was really good. It's by Max Brooks, the guy who wrote the Zombie Survival Guide.
Yeah. Who
Who
came out not liking this movie.
No, he came out not liking this movie.
He said it's similar in name alone, pretty much.
That's pretty much all it really is, too, because in the movie, in the book, it's like a reporter traveling around, and he's gathering like different stories from around the globe of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Of them like fighting the zombies, which would have been a cool movie.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting.
It would have been a really cool movie.
Instead of just
this fuckhead Jerry, because he spells his name stupid.
Oh, Jerry.
That's the only reason why I hate him too. Other than that, he was a fine character.
He was a fine character.
I just don't like him because his name is Jerry with a G.
I actually don't have a problem with that if your name was J. Unless you're Jim with a G, then fuck off, man.
So, he was a fine character other than that, but like this just focuses on him going around the globe trying to find the cure for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And trying to find like Patient Zero. But
Which
like
goes
they
nowhere.
missed a lot of the major plot points from the book.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even really want to super compare this to the book because it's nothing like the book.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I can understand.
Yeah.
Like, as a big fan of the book, this movie's a terrible World War Z movie.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre zombie movie.
Yeah, it's passable for a zombie movie.
For just a zombie movie, if it wasn't called World War Z, if this was called Zombies, Zombie World,
yeah,
I'd be like,
that'd be dumb.
That'd be a dumb name, but I'd be like,
yeah.
meh, it's a passable movie.
Yeah, I'll say it's a passable zombie movie. It's a bad movie. If we reviewed this purely from like a critical standpoint, I would say it's pretty bad. But as a zombie movie, it's definitely passable. Like if you like, I want to watch a zombie movie. This is a fine movie to watch.
Yeah, this is an okay one to watch. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Other than Jerry with a G.
All right, so let's get into the actual plot. It starts out
with the sexiest man alive.
Me?
Brad Pitt.
Oh, I can give him number 2. But
one of the sexiest men alive, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's him. I mean, they have like a cold open. Well, not cold. Well, yeah.
They have like a whole title sequence in the beginning that doesn't really make any sense for the movie.
Yeah, it's not about like
It's got like news clips going on. Then there's like birds flying, wolves like eating a deer. Like it didn't make any sense for a zombie movie.
Yeah, normally they have it where it's like talking about the zombie apocalypse. This is just talking about like bad stuff.
Yeah,
and then showing like birds and wolves and dolphins getting stranded.
Yeah, dolphins getting stranded on the land.
It's just none of it.
They were like trying to get like a whale off the beach at one point, and I was like, this doesn't really make much sense for what this movie is.
I see what they were trying to do, but it didn't really work. But whatever. So,
but like on the flip side of that, you look at a movie that did like a montage in the beginning of Dawn of the Dead, and that was actually a decently put together montage.
Oh yeah. Do we like that?
I like their title sequence.
I think we talked about liking that. But okay, so yeah, weird.
This montage just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of stuff in this that we're gonna nitpick at. So it opens up with his kids jumping on him, waking them up. It's him, his wife, and their 2 daughters. So then they wake them up. They're like cooking breakfast or whatever.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" And the one daughter's like, "I want a dog," and he's like, "I hope it's a stuffed dog."
Yeah, he doesn't like dogs.
And he's like watching like the news, and it's talking about like this rabies outbreak all over the world.
Yeah.
And it looked like there were like some refugee camps, like some dangerous areas. And his one daughter is like, "Oh, is that like places where you used to go?"
Yeah, what's martial law?
Yeah, what's martial law? And like,
he describes
and he's like, "Oh, that's like house rules, but for everybody." And she's like, "Oh, did you have to go to places like that for your old job?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, do you miss it?" And he like looks at her and he's like, "No, I enjoy being home with you kids." Like you can tell these kids ruined his life.
Oh yeah, he had such a successful career. And then he had kids.
He worked for like you find out later on that he was working for the UN.
Yeah.
But he had like a successful like career like investigating like war crimes and stuff for the UN.
Yeah.
And then now he has these stupid kids.
So how many war criminals are free because of these damn kids? How many?
Probably a ton.
Yeah, probably. Whatever.
Probably a ton. Thanks a lot, kids.
That's why they never got Coney 2012.
Moral of this story: Brad Pitt could have stopped Coney if only he didn't have kids.
Damn kids. So he's like cooking him breakfast. The mom because they're going on a vacation. The mom is to the one daughter like, "Do you have your extra inhaler or whatever?" And she's like, "Sure, yeah."
She's like, "Yeah, I packed it in my bag."
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Okay, that's gonna be a problem. Although not really. It's not really a problem.
So
it just brings us to one of my favorite scenes.
Then it cuts them to they're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
This shows like Philadelphia in the bottom, and they're like sitting in traffic, and they're like playing like a game, like 20 questions, like, oh, you gotta guess what this thing is.
Yeah. It's dumb.
And it's dumb, and they're sitting there in the thing, and
it's bumper to bumper traffic.
some cop motorcycles go by, and one of them hits the side mirror and like breaks it off.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's like, "What the fuck?" But he doesn't say what the fuck.
No.
He's like, "Oh,
PG-13,
what the hell?"
Yeah. He
And,
gets out to investigate.
Then another cop comes up and he's like, "Get the fuck back in your car!"
Yeah. And then he stays there for a second. He's like, "Stay in your car."
And then gets hit by a fucking garbage truck. Boom! Garbage
great.
truck comes by, wipes out fucking the cop that was standing next to the car,
And
then
every
just starts
car in front of
pushing
it. Yeah.
all the cars out in front of it.
Yeah.
And so Brad Pitt
He's like,
drives
fuck it,
behind it, and everybody's like,
'Cause, like, shit's going
freaking
crazy
out and
now,
running. Yeah. You got the guy in the garbage truck, you see him like slowly turn into a zombie, inside, like he starts twitching and shit, like you see later on, and Brad Pitt's like, yeah.
He's driving behind him.
And then the girls are like, "Daddy, I want my blanket."
Yeah, one of them was whining about their fucking blanket.
And honestly, these girls were too old to be calling their dad daddy.
Yes. Who should be calling him daddy?
The wife is the only one that should be calling Brad Pitt daddy at this point.
That is a joke he made about watching, which, while terrible and dumb, was very funny to me.
Yeah, I did make that.
So the one daughter is complaining about her blanket, whatever. The other daughter gets out of her seat and is like hiding.
Is hiding behind the mom's seat.
Yeah, is like hiding, crouched down, and they're like trying to get her to get in her seat and buckle up.
And he gets hit like in the driver's side door.
which she's not doing. So this is something they do in a lot of zombie movies, where the driver is turning around, not looking for too long. And especially for someone who like worked for the UN and did all this shit, he should know, like, focus on the fucking road. Like,
Nah, he wasn't a driver for the UN.
I know, but he's like an intelligent guy who like has been in dangerous situations.
Is he? He spells his name with a G.
Well, he didn't pick that.
He probably did.
He changed it.
He was wondering what was in the box the whole time.
Yeah, some goop.
What's in that box?
Which we also did a lot.
What's in the box?
We did it so much that we missed all the dialogue.
Honestly, I don't know what anybody said in this movie because I was just yelling, "What's in the box?"
It actually got really annoying because he did it for literally an hour and a half. So yes, that's something that always bugs me, that the driver doesn't look because they need the car to crash. And so the dump truck crashes into a Budweiser truck, which we see Budweiser later. Was it
a Budweiser truck? I didn't even notice.
It was. I enjoyed the way they did the product placement. It was pretty subtle. Like, you see a Budweiser truck for like a second, and then later they're drinking Budweiser, but like you only see the label a little.
Yeah, it's true.
Same thing with Pepsi. So they did it pretty well.
Yeah, so that truck crashes. He's still driving, and then he gets like T-boned.
Yeah.
By like a car, and he gets all fucked up.
Yeah.
And then their car's totaled, so they get out of the car and they start like running down the street with everybody else.
Yeah. It's just chaos.
And the daughter drops her like doll.
Yeah.
Like stuffed animal doll,
Some
animal
sort of
thing.
toy. Yeah.
And he stops and picks it up. And then it starts counting. It's like, "Are you ready?" Because while that's going on, this scene is chaos. It's insane. While that's going on, a guy got attacked by like one of the zombies, and he's like laying on the ground after he got bit, and this toy is counting.
Yeah.
And it's like 1, 2,
Yeah.
and like as it's counting, you see the guy like twitching and stuff on the ground, like turning into a zombie.
Yeah.
And it gets to 12, and it goes 12, and it goes, "The train is in the station."
Yeah.
And the zombie fucking freaks out, starts smashing its head on like the glass, like to attack.
Yeah,
so
so
he knows it takes 12 seconds for somebody that's bit to turn into a zombie.
Yeah.
But that timeline changes.
It does change, although it never changes in his mind.
No, in his mind it doesn't change.
Yeah.
In his mind, everything's like, all right, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. Later on, one guy's like, "Oh, it took like 10 minutes for that guy to change."
Yeah.
And he's like, 12 seconds.
There's no reason for that. They fucked up. Why'd they say that? If it stayed 12 seconds, his everything he did would make... Well, not everything, but a lot of things he did would make sense. But they changed it.
No, they did.
And it was like, it's kind of dumb that... I mean, it was kind of cool to have like the toy counting, but it was kind of dumb that like...
I enjoyed the toy counting thing, because like it was a cool like dynamic sort of thing for it.
I get it, like kids' toy and monster. But like, you know, it is so loud, but everything gets drowned out so he can hear this toy counting.
Yeah, it does like one of those things like you see in like war movies or something like that, where like everything in the background goes like really like muted and like semi-quiet, where like it's still going on, but you can't really like shell shock almost.
Yeah.
But all you hear is
instead of hearing like a ringing noise, you hear the one.
Yeah, you hear 1, 2.
Yeah.
So
kind of dumb, but I get it. Whatever.
They get into like a Winnebago.
Yeah, he's like getting the RV.
Yeah, somebody who had an RV, they jumped out to steal a car instead.
I think they turned.
See, I thought they were because there was like no damage on the RV. Why would they turn? I thought they jumped out and like stole a car.
Could have been.
They jumped out and then like a car that was in front of it like moved like right away.
Oh.
So like I thought they jumped out to steal a car. Like, oh, this is better because it's smaller. Like I can get it.
Sure, it's possible.
So they jump into this RV and they drive out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the tagline for this movie, which is the dumbest tagline I think I've ever heard for a movie ever. The tagline is just... the tagline is, "Remember Philly."
What?
Taglines. "Remember Philly!" with an exclamation point.
That's fucking so dumb.
Philadelphia's in this movie for like 10 minutes total.
Tops.
Tops. 10 minutes at most.
It is.
And it's "Remember Philly!" Like the whole movie takes place in Philadelphia.
This is such a worldwide movie. Remember Philly is so dumb.
"Remember Philly!"
Oh my god.
I also like to think it's in that voice.
Yeah, probably. Remember? Yeah, actually. Oh boy. Yeah, there's some errors they made in this movie.
So they're driving down the down this road, and the daughter starts hyperventilating.
Yeah, they're like
and
out of the city now.
Yeah, having like a panic attack or an asthma attack.
Yeah.
And so he pulls over and goes in the back with his daughter.
And they're like looking.
And the wife is like, "Oh,
looking." She's like, "I forgot my bag." So they're
I
looking
forgot
for
the
the
bag.
extra inhaler.
And he's like trying to calm her down.
Yeah.
And then
It's like,
he gets a
just
phone
breathe,
call
kid, jeez.
from Thierry Umotoni is his actual name.
Yeah, you probably nailed it.
So there you go.
He's an African guy, works in the UN. He's like one of the head guys in the UN. And he's talking with Brad Pitt. I'm going to call him Brad Pitt so you don't interrupt every time I say Jerry.
Goddamn stupid name. So yeah, he's talking with Brad Pitt and he's like, "Listen, I need you not just for old times, like we actually need you."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm flying out of New York City now in a helicopter. I'll send a helicopter for you to pick you up. I'll give you coordinates."
Yeah.
So they're driving to somewhere, and they end up stopping up in beautiful Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, because the daughter's having an asthma attack, so they're like, "We got to stop." And
so they end up stopping in beautiful Newark, New Jersey,
yeah,
which is like on fire and stuff, but it doesn't look any worse than Newark normally
does. Yeah, we're
does.
like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's
like,
about right."
that's just Newark. It hasn't gotten to Newark yet.
Yeah, we wiped the sweat off our brow, and we're like, "Woo, good, Newark is safe."
Newark looks exactly the same. We are from New Jersey, so that's why we can make that joke. If anybody else makes that joke,
how dare you
fucking come and make fun of your town?
Yeah. Fuck you. I don't know. I can't think of another town.
Fuck you, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Whole state.
The whole state. Sure.
So,
what is a city?
Fuck you, New York City.
Fuck you, Paris, Texas.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, not France.
No. There's like a couple Parises in the U.S.
Fuck you, Las Vegas, Nevada.
I mean, but seriously, yeah. Of course.
So they go to Newark, and Newark looks like it normally does. And they go into a shopping, into a grocery store.
Yeah.
Which people are in there, like, looting and, like, taking stuff off the shelves and putting it in their carts. Like, stealing, like, water and food and medicine and stuff. So, like, normal.
Yeah.
Like normal
like
Newark. Like, right now, this is just still Newark.
Everyone
it's
not
not
from New Jersey is like, sure.
So,
if you're not from New Jersey, just replace one of your shitty cities. I mean, Newark.
So if you're not from New Jersey, Newark's like the 5th worst city in the United States.
Sure.
Let alone, let alone New Jersey. It's the 5th worst in like the United States.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving whatever. I'm sure anyone from Newark is laughing.
Nobody listens to us from Newark, unfortunately.
Oh, good. So we can make fun of it. So he takes the daughter with asthma to the pharmacy, and the wife takes the little daughter with her, puts her in a cart, and is running grabbing food. So he runs back to the pharmacy and is like looking for stuff, and a guy, like a sketchy looking guy, walks out of the shadows and like pulls a gun on him.
It's great.
It is so.
He's
cool.
like a total like tweaker.
Yeah, he looks like he's totally there for drugs. And he's like, I don't know if he says anything or whatever, but Brad Pitt's like, I just need like a inhaler and shit for my.
He goes, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm looking for. I forget. He says the brand of the asthma medication.
And so the guy who's just like a total like drugged out.
He's like, oh, here you go. Hands him like a box, like 3 of them.
I love it.
And goes, oh, this really worked well for my. He goes, oh, they say they grow out of it. And he's like, oh, and this worked wonders for my kid. And he gives him, like, something else. You don't know what it is. And then, like, Brad Pitt, like, just, like, walks away. And the guy's just, like, staring at him.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh.
I just love that he's just, like, a drug dealer. He's obviously there for, like, you know, Vicodin or something. He's like, oh, yeah, sure, but I got you.
Oh, I'll help you out. I know where everything is in here.
A typical Newark pharmacist. So as he gets the medicine, and then he hears his daughter screaming and sees, like, her being, like, she's in the cart, and the cart's just, like, rolling down the aisle, and then it, like, hits into the wall.
Yes.
So he, like, runs over there and sees 2 guys are trying to take advantage of his wife. So he's, like, yelling at them, like, to stop, and one guy pulls a gun on him. So Brad Pitt shoots him with a rifle they found in the Winnebago.
So Newark, New Jersey is 15 on the list of worst cities.
Oh, see?
Highest murder rates in the United States. It's right behind Compton, California.
There you go.
So Compton's slightly more dangerous than Newark.
Damn, they beat us.
If only this was in Camden, New Jersey. Camden's number 3.
Ooh, nice.
Woohoo! Take that, Flint, Michigan, number 8.
Oh.
and Detroit, number 9. Camden's worse than Detroit.
Fuck yeah. New Jersey's got it all.
Woohoo! The safest town, and as well as the least safe town. So...
So he shoots this guy, and then...
the wife's gonna get raped, and he, like, pulls the gun, and the guy gets in a gunfight over a rape.
Yeah, like, during the apocalypse. It's so dumb.
Like, he was gonna rape this woman in the middle of a supermarket? But, like, everyone else is around, he's just gonna be like, here we go!
Just another, like... It was dumb, but it led to something we thought was funny.
He shoots the guy.
He shoots the guy.
And the guy, like, gets shot in the chest and, like, falls backwards. And, like, she runs over to him and, like, hugs him. And then, like, a cop comes, like, jogging down the aisle.
Yeah, he starts, like, running towards him.
So Brad Pitt and his wife, like, put their hands up in the air. And he, like, raises the gun up in the air. The cop runs right past them. And, like, gets, like, baby food off the shelf, like, taking that.
It's so funny, like...
So it's a typical Newark, like, Tuesday afternoon.
He's like, I'm not shooting, but I gotta grab some baby food first.
Yeah, he's like, whatever.
No, I loved it, though, that it was just, like, the cop just did not give a shit. He's like, no, I don't care. Like, the zombie apocalypse going on. Shoot whoever the fuck you want as long as it's not me. So, yeah, then they, like, run out, and somebody has stolen their Winnebago.
See, the problem is, if I was in this apocalypse situation, I would have to murder that pharmacist guy so I could fuck with all the medicines.
So you could
he wouldn't let me mess with the medicines.
You'd be like, all right, you get a bottle of Vicodin, but then you gotta go because I'm gonna shit in every other bottle.
So now they, like, go and they run to an apartment building because somebody stole their Winnebago when they get out in the thing. So they go, oh, we ran to this apartment building.
Yeah, he's talking to the UN guy on the phone again. He's like, we're in this apartment building.
And while they're running into the apartment building, they close the door behind them. There's all zombies and shit all over the streets.
Yeah.
They close the doors, and then it shows, like, an old, drunk, homeless man.
Yeah.
Sitting on the side of the thing, like, drinking, like, out of, like, a brown paper bag.
Yep.
And shows zombies running right past him without paying attention to him.
Yes.
And, like, that's your first hint of what's to come in this movie.
Yes. There's something
a little foreshadowing. Brad Pitt doesn't see it.
No.
But he'll see some things later on that are just like it.
Yeah, did he end up seeing this in his flashbacks?
He did not see it in his flashbacks.
See,
he saw the 2 guys in Jerusalem.
Yes.
He saw the little kid and the old man in Jerusalem.
I could have swore that he saw this.
I could have sworn he did too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so he didn't see this, but it is a little bit of foreshadowing. Like, some people aren't being attacked.
Goddamn Nelson Mandela effect.
Yep. So it's like soccer. Oh, yeah, it's not actually that.
It's just like
sock 'em boppers,
like soccer boppers.
Yeah.
Although it was sock 'em boppers.
Yes, it was.
So
oh yeah, so that's not actually the Mandela effect.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It actually was. They changed.
Like the goddamn Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I never read those fucking books.
Stupid bears.
Yeah.
Teaching kids to be nice to bears.
That book turned. Yeah, that's dangerous.
The one animal you shouldn't be nice to.
Yeah.
Give me an animal fact about a bear.
Bears can climb trees as fast as they can run.
There we go. Sweet. So,
some bears.
Bears beats Battlestar
Black
Galactica.
bears, I think, can do that.
So, they go to this apartment building, and there's a little kid outside, and they kind of, like, help him along a little bit. There's a Mexican family that brings them all inside. And it turns out it's one of the kids is the Mexican family's kid. So they come inside, and they're like, oh, cerveza, por favor?
Yeah. Which he does actually. He is speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
So
he
it's
gives
not just you being an asshole.
No, he gives him like a
He gives
Budweiser.
Yeah, he
this
gives
is,
him a couple
this is where you
Budweisers.
see the Budweiser.
Yeah.
And like the daughters are all freaked out and shit. And this is why you shouldn't have kids.
Yeah.
It's specifically because of this reason.
Yeah,
these kids are like the shittiest kids.
Oh, in the zombie apocalypse, they are the worst thing to have around. You do not want them around.
I learned from Maggie, kids are the worst.
Yep.
And now this movie, also cementing that children are the worst.
Yeah. If you want to survive the zombie apocalypse, don't have kids.
Or murder your kids immediately as soon as the zombie apocalypse starts.
No, don't do that. We have to put a disclaimer. Don't do that no matter what you think. Don't ever murder your children. I don't need some lunatic being like, fuck the zombie apocalypse. Mike from the Zomboys told me.
All right, fair enough. Full disclaimer, don't murder your children.
Yeah.
This is a comedy podcast. These things are said for comedic intent.
Yes.
Please don't murder your children.
No, don't ever.
And do it in the name of Zomboys.
Yeah, don't do that. He's saying don't do that. Oh boy, I'm getting sweaty. Let's get off this topic.
So
we should not talk about the kids ever again.
They're in the thing, and they call the
UN guy.
They call the UN guy, and they say, "Listen, we're in an apartment building, Newark. Can you come pick us up? We have flares. We'll light them on the roof in the morning." He's like, "Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll come. I'll get a helicopter."
Well, yeah, he says we'll get you at
So at this point, he's trying to convince the Mexican guy or Hispanic guy. I don't know if he's Mexican or not.
Yes, that's true.
He's trying to convince him to leave, and he's like, "Listen, I've been in a lot of situations like this, and the people that don't move are the ones that die."
Yeah, he says,
he's like, "We gotta
life.
keep moving. Movement is life."
And he's like, "No, we're gonna stay here."
He's like, "No, we're gonna stay here." So they like make some cool weapons.
Oh yeah.
He like tapes a magazine to his arm, so like zombies can't bite him.
Yep.
And that's pretty sweet
and
cool idea.
Tapes a knife to the front of his rifle, like
so
a little
he can stab
homemade
people.
bayonet, which is cool.
And so they go and leave, and the Mexican guy or Hispanic guy closes the door behind them and locks it, and the wife is like, "Oh, we should have left," and he's like, "No, we're safer here."
Yeah,
and then there's banging on the door.
Yeah, and then he slides like a dresser up against it, and then there's banging on the door.
And like, you see the lock is coming off the door.
Yeah, starting to crack a little. And then we cut to Brad Pitt and the family.
So you cut to Brad Pitt and the family, and they're like running up the stairs to the thing, and then zombies start coming after them.
Yeah.
And they get attacked. Brad Pitt, the zombie like bites his gun, and he's like wrestling with it. And the daughter and the wife, they run outside, onto the roof and like light the flare. And the helicopter's coming in, going to land and pick them up, or like hover right next to the thing so they can jump on and pick them up. And he's like fighting with the zombie, and it's like throwing up blood like in his face.
Yeah. I was wondering why you were talking about this so much, but yeah, that is a great scene.
Yeah, it's like throwing up blood like in his face, and he ends up shooting it, and then the little kid comes, the little Hispanic kid comes.
Somehow gets through all the zombies.
Got through all the zombies, but like the rest of his family's dead.
Yeah.
And so they go out the door, and Brad Pitt immediately runs to the edge of the building like he's going to jump off, and stands there and is counting.
Yeah.
And he's waiting to like see any signs that he's going to turn into a zombie. And if he was, he's going to throw himself off the building. I loved it.
It's such a great... He makes a lot of rash decisions in this, which are awesome.
It would have been great if he just leapt off the building.
And that was the last bit we see of him.
Dead.
Yeah.
And then like the main character is the young doctor that slips, falls, and shoots himself in the head.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, I like that scene where he's just like, fuck, if I turn on, I need to jump.
Yeah, so they get to
they get in the chopper.
They get in the chopper. They get to the thing. They get us they're on like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Like,
they get assigned bunk beds.
Yeah.
And at that point, he's talking with his friend from the UN.
No, I thought you were gonna have a problem with the bunk beds.
No.
Emphasize that.
No. He's talking with his friend from the UN, and he's like, "Oh, the president's dead.
Yeah.
And so are like a bunch of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah.
And blah 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 blah.
He's kind of telling
no
him,
place is doing like any better than we are.
Yeah.
They go into like the situation room area, and there's like a young doctor talking about diseases. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, that's like the bright young mind." He's like, "He'll be our ticket out of this."
Yeah.
He's going to South Korea.
Yeah. So they're sending Brad Pitt to South Korea because that's like where they first heard of it.
Well, they're sending Brad Pitt to South Korea, but not by his choice.
No,
Brad Pitt, they come to him, like the general of the ship comes, and he goes, I've heard about you, you were like the best investigator for the UN at the time, like when you were working there. He's like, I'm sending you to South Korea with him, because he won't survive like 5 minutes by himself.
Yeah.
Like you've been to like Liberia, you've checked out Chechen war crimes, like all like this impressive stuff, and they're like, he won't survive 5 minutes by himself.
But here's the thing.
And Brad Pitt's like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah, he's not going to go. He doesn't want to.
And the general's like, well, your family's here, and I can easily kick you all off the ship because there's other people waiting. So either you go and do this for us, or I'm kicking your family off.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought when he said that, he was not going to send the young doctor because Brad Pitt's... I mean, there's also sending them with a team of Navy SEALs. Brad Pitt's not the strong arm of this operation. The Navy SEALs are. Brad Pitt's like the investigator. So I was like... Brad Pitt's not going to help this kid stay alive. The Navy SEALs are. So why is him going? Help? Why does that help? If they're because they also send this doctor who they say will not make it 5 minutes. So they shouldn't have sent him. He's their top guy, and they're going to send him. Like he doesn't have like lab equipment or anything. He's just going there to check it out. That's why they're sending the investigator to investigate and get clues to bring back. You don't send your fucking best doctor or your best scientist. So I just thought that was dumb because then he fucking dies immediately.
Yeah, so they send this doctor with Brad Pitt to South Korea with the Navy SEALs, and they have a whole conversation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was really the only reason why they sent him.
They
was so they can have this conversation that'll help Brad Pitt later on.
Yes.
Where he's like, he's talking about Mother Nature and diseases, and he's like, that sometimes the strengths of the disease are its actual weakness.
Yeah.
And you always have to look for the chink in the armor.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So now they land in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
But first off, when they take off from this aircraft carrier,
oh yeah,
they're in an AC-130.
Oh, is that what you're looking at?
Which is a giant airplane.
Yes.
It's like a troop carrier. You can fit a tank and shit in it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, one of them...
Oh, can they?
Landed on a aircraft carrier.
Okay. He's like looking at a whole article right now just to see if he was right or wrong.
And it looks like one was able to take off from an aircraft carrier, but normally they would not launch an AC-130 off an aircraft
this is
carrier.
the zombie apocalypse.
So
not a normal situation.
That normally even like the current day aircraft carriers, which that one would be,
you're trying so hard.
barely has enough room for like a jet to take off on.
Yeah.
Let alone a giant AC-130 that's a prop plane.
All right. So what I'm getting from this is that they got it right. And you got it
No,
wrong.
no, they didn't get it right.
They got you, buddy.
They did not.
So this AC-130 totally logically takes off from this aircraft carrier. It makes perfect sense. So they land in South Korea, and they are getting off the plane, and some zombies come, and the SEALs are like, the SEALs that went with them are like shooting at them or whatever, and Brad Pitt and the guy go back on the plane.
Well, the guy goes to go run back on the plane.
I think Brad Pitt's going with him.
kind of like standing there, like watching.
Yeah,
and then like the guy turns around and goes to go run on the plane.
And he slips
and falls, and his pistol goes off and shoots himself, and he's dead.
Yeah, he falls and shoots himself right in the head immediately.
And then
oh, come on.
Some of the military guys that are stationed in South Korea come up. They're like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
And they end up going into the...
But it's just like, they could have so easily just had him have that conversation with Brad Pitt at a different time and not go on the plane. No, that didn't need to happen. The whole plot could have worked out exactly the same. It's just so dumb. It's like, oh, fuck, great. Now this guy's dead for no reason.
It's just like, I guess they're trying to illustrate, like, oh, look at all the crazy setbacks that there are.
Yeah, but it's just like, but everything is like such a coincidence.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. This movie is all coincidences strung together.
So they end up in the
It's like
in the military base with the guys, and they're telling the story about. They're like, "Oh, we heard guys had a zombie here, like a patient here."
Yeah.
Because they sent out a communique that said the word zombie in it.
Yeah.
They sent out like an email that had the word zombie, so that's why they are ended up in South Korea.
Yeah.
So they go into this room that's just covered with ashed bodies, like they lit them all on fire.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're like, there was like 8 guys that got bit by the one guy that was chained down to the bed.
Yeah.
The one guy was completely, like, burned, except for, like, 2 of his fingers.
Yeah.
And his 2 fingers are still moving. So he's like, oh, who's the commander? And he's like, is he around? And he goes, yeah, he's over there, and points to him.
Yeah.
And there's, like, an ashen body, like, that's burned to nothing. It's
literally just, like, 2 fingers
but, like, his
and
2
a bone.
fingers are just moving.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
It was weird.
Yeah.
So...
That's why I said this movie is bad as a movie. Because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
It gets a pass for some things because it's a zombie movie, but stuff like that is just like, stop it. Don't do that.
So it shows, like, the backstory of this doctor getting bit, and he went in to find, like, a South Korean soldier that went AWOL, and he had, like, black tar and stuff coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And the soldier ended up biting him, and then when the doctor got back, he started attacking people.
Yeah.
And so they lit everything on fire and burned everybody. It sounds like alive, almost.
It must. We assume.
Like, if you look at the position of some of the bodies, it looked like everybody got burned alive.
Yeah, but how would they burn the whole room like that?
Flamethrowers.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, good point. All right, I was gonna say because the records are also in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the bad thing. Is he's like, well, do you have any records? And he's like, yeah, they're over there. You can look through them, and those are also all burned.
Yeah,
like they weren't like, let me get these records out of there before we burn this whole room to the fucking ground.
So it must have been
they just lit the whole room on fire.
A rash decision.
But
all of this has no point really.
None of all this kind
because he's looking for patient zero and he never finds patient zero.
Yeah, but it kind of has a point because at least then you were like, oh fuck, he can't find what he needs in South Korea. Like, what's going to go on next?
Yeah, it's like,
where's he going to go next?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, nothing happened here. He's got to go somewhere else then.
So he ends up talking with this CIA guy who got in trouble for selling weapons to North Korea.
Yeah.
This is before North Korea is our friend, like it is now. All hail glorious leader Kim Jong-un.
Sure.
Thank you, dear leader, for the sunshine in the sky every day.
Careful, they'll hack our stuff.
Oh no, I'm complimenting dear leader.
Did you know, fun fact, he could drive when he was 4.
That's great.
Have you ever read any of those facts, quote-unquote facts about the leaders of North Korea?
I have not, but I believe it.
They're pretty great.
I believe it, because he's a very intelligent man. His haircut is impeccable.
They're pretty funny. We should read some later.
He's selling weapons to North Korea before they were our friends.
Yeah.
And he was like, you were like, how's North Korea faring? And he's like, they don't have any problems at all. Like, they're holding everybody off. And he's like, because of the weapons you sold them? And he's like, no, that's only a half measure. He's like, it's because within 24 hours, every person in North Korea had their teeth ripped out by the government.
No teeth, no biting.
Yeah, no teeth, no biting.
And he also has his teeth ripped out.
And he also has all of his teeth ripped out. So North Korea de-toothed everyone.
It is very cool. I mean, it's whatever. But I mean, hey, it works.
I mean, smart move by Kim Jong-un. Good job, dear leader.
Dear leader. I don't know if they call him dear leader.
Oh, they do. They thank him.
Dear leader?
Yeah, they thank.
Okay. I knew it was like something crazy like that.
They thank him for the sun and everything every morning.
Oh, well.
They go, thank you, dear leader, for allowing the sun to rise in the sky today.
Oh, I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, it's him.
Oh, I thought it was physics.
No. Well, I thought it was the Greek god Apollo. I thought that's who pulled the sun across the sky, but
it's not.
No, it's not. It's Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un is in the chariot pulling the sun across the sky.
So
we need more fans so we can have an artist draw that up for us because I want to see that.
One of our fans, please draw up a picture of Kim Jong-un
in a chariot,
pulling a chariot with the sun across the sky.
Oh, I would love to see that.
So he finds out that Jerusalem is the next spot where he has to go because they finished their big wall around the city like 3 days before the whole thing went off.
Yeah.
And the CIA guy's like, that's not just a coincidence. He's like, talk to this guy in Jerusalem, blah, 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 blah. So he goes, all right, now we got to go to Jerusalem. Yeah. So they have to fill the plane up with fuel in order to get there. So he's like, we gotta do it quietly. So they get on these bicycles.
Yeah.
And they're the squeakiest fucking bicycles in the history of the world.
It's so funny.
So it's raining outside, and they're riding these bicycles, and the bicycles are going squeak, squeak.
Yeah.
Squeak, 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 squeak. And
it's supposed to like add a tense element, I think. But it's just funny.
They're coming through like a gate, and his dumb wife fucking calls him on the satellite phone that he gave her, and he goes,
yeah.
And all the zombies are like, what the fuck was that?
Oh.
And
new phone, who dis?
Yeah. Yo, who this is? And they all turn and try and attack them.
Which he should have told his wife, don't call me because of zombies. She should have known not to call him.
So now all kinds of shit's going on. He should have known
to have the phone on silent. It's just a lot of more contrived shit.
So like all kinds of crazy shit's going on now.
The zombies are attacking him.
He pulls up now with the one army guy pulls up with the fuel truck and hops out and hooks it up.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to hold off the zombies. Brad Pitt gets tackled off the bicycle while he's almost at the airplane.
Yeah.
And the army guy kills the zombie that was on him, but then gets bit in the leg.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt runs on the plane. They're holding off the zombies from running on the plane as it's refueling.
And as the guy's like turning, someone says something to him, and he's like, "Nah, don't worry, I can take care of this."
He's like, "Oh, I got this one." Shoots himself in the head.
Yeah, it's on the show, but that's badass. I love badass shit like that.
And then they're like, "Oh, the one pilot's like, we have to disconnect the fuel line before we take off."
Yeah.
Just fucking take off and rip the fuel line off the truck.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow fucking protocols like, we gotta disconnect the fuel line. There's fucking zombies running into the back of the plane.
Yeah.
Just fucking hit it, rip the fucking fuel line off, and call it a fucking day.
I probably agree. I could see it being like, it might fuck us up, like it might leak all the fuel or something. I don't know. I'll give that to him. I mean, if it was me, I would be like, fuck it, we'll take off, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll worry about it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's zombies in the back of the plane. So they're like, we have to...
one guy gets
off.
One
guy goes, I hope Jerusalem's worth it. And he leaves the plane to die.
Yeah.
And disconnect the fuel line. So he disconnects the fuel line. They take off. Brad Pitt's now in the front. There's zombies, like, banging on the cockpit door. And they take off, like, pretty steep. So all the zombies fall out of the back.
Great.
And they fly. They're flying to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
To which now his wife calls again. And she's like, oh, how is everything? If I was Brad Pitt, I'd be like, you just got, like, fucking 8 people killed, if not more. I don't know how many more people died after they took off.
A lot.
Probably all of them.
Yeah.
Probably all of them. She probably single-handedly killed every single person at that military base. Because she's like, oh, I miss you.
Just by one phone call, she took out an entire Ranger unit.
Way to go.
What an achievement.
Fucking.
Although, yeah, obviously he wouldn't be like, you fucking killed all these people, but...
I would have. I'd have been like, we're getting a divorce. Guess what we're doing? When I get back to that ship, I'm telling them, kick you off.
Kick you off.
Put Matumbo, whatever the fuck his name was, back on the phone. Because put Black Panther back on the phone, so I can tell him, kick you off.
Stop calling him Black Panther.
Well, what's his name?
Just call him the UN guy. He's the only person in the UN we know.
Alright. The UN guy.
Yeah, he's the only guy in the UN that we care about.
Put Apollo Creed on the phone. Just gonna keep naming different black movie stars.
Yeah, that's good.
Put Carl Weathers on the phone and...
God. Okay, I'm fucking moving on.
So I'm having him kick you off the goddamn plane.
But yeah, I could see him being like, hey, yeah, no, everything's fine, but you shouldn't call me just because I heard the ringing and I was like... Oh, this would be bad if I was in a compromising situation.
Because everyone just got killed because of you.
So, like, yeah, if I'm in a compromising situation, it could be a problem. So just make it a point not to call me.
And then while he's on the phone with her, a nuclear bomb goes off underneath them and shakes the plane, and then his phone goes dead.
From an EMP.
I don't know if it's from an EMP.
You don't think so?
No, because the plane doesn't crash.
Yeah, but why does his phone die?
I think he just lost satellite signal. I think that's all it was.
From a bomb?
No, not from the bomb. I think it was just coincidence. Because this is like the world's shittiest satellite phone. Because he tried to call her from inside the base in North Korea. And the phone didn't work. Or in South Korea.
Yeah.
The phone didn't work. But 10 feet outside, it worked fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to attribute it to just being the world's shittiest satellite phone.
It's just another...
Because if they were right about an AC-130 being able to take off from an aircraft carrier, then I feel like they got EMP physics down.
Sure. It just seemed like such an odd-timed coincidence to me. But whatever. I'll give it to him. Because I'm giving them so much already. Why not just let them have everything?
So they land in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And they go and talk to this doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's because they're like, well, why did you build this wall? Like, and he's like, oh, because we got a communication that we intercepted from India that said the word zombie in it.
Yeah.
And they're like, so off of just the word zombie, you decide to build a wall.
Yeah.
And he explains this concept of the 10th man.
Yeah,
that, like,
I like that concept.
They have this like crazy concept where if all 9 people agree because of all the terrible things that have happened to the Jews in the past, that...
Well, I think that's kind of separate.
No. He says all the things. He's like, we didn't think that we would get massacred at the Olympic Games. He's like, you didn't think that they would send us to concentration camps. He brings up all the things.
But I was saying, he's saying like, so the 9 men would say logically, no, there's no zombies, but the 10th man has to question that. And
he was saying like if a committee of 10 people, if 9 people all agree, the 10th man has to automatically disagree and act like whatever they're saying is completely wrong.
Yeah.
So he
So like zombie sounds insane.
Zombie sounds insane.
But he has to look at it as like, listen, we've gotten fucked before.
So the community was like, the committee was like, well, no, this doesn't make any sense. Like, obviously, it's not going to be zombies.
Yeah.
And he was like, because he was the 10th person, he was like, oh no, it's definitely zombies. We should build this wall.
Yeah.
So they build the wall, and it turns out it was zombies.
Yeah.
So way to go, Jews.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jews.
They nailed it on this one in the zombie apocalypse.
Finally, they nailed it. So they get to the wall, and they're bringing people in.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're saving all these people. And he goes, well, there are less people that will have to fight.
Yeah.
Like, the more people that they save, the less will turn into zombies.
Yeah, but also it's just like a nice gesture, I think, to say.
Yeah. So you see, like, the military and stuff's flying all around, and then these people start fucking singing.
Oh, yeah.
And the one, like, they're singing out loud first, And then, like, the one girl grabs a microphone, starts singing into the microphone
letting
really
this
loud.
happen?
And instead of, like, stopping it, like, if I was in charge of the military, I'd be like, shoot all of them.
Yeah.
Kill all of them now.
Well, I would
all the
say
people
that.
in the courtyard, shoot them all.
But, like, as soon as someone's singing on
Silence
a mic, like, no, don't do that.
Well, they're not going to listen to you. There's too many people.
Yeah, but you
So
go
it's
over
easier
there.
to just shoot everything.
Okay.
You got a Jeep there with, like, a machine gun on the back, just...
That can't be your answer for everything, is just shoot them.
Well, this is why I would survive during the zombie
That's
apocalypse,
literally
and all these people would not.
I want to listen back. That is your response to every problem in the zombie apocalypse. Just shoot it.
Well, yeah, just... I would have a gun, I would shoot them. So they should have silenced these people one way or another.
Yes.
Whether it was turn off the sound system,
Yes, I agree. They should have done it one way or the other.
or shoot all these people.
Yeah, because...
Whatever was easiest at
Yeah.
the time.
Because now...
Might have been hard to get to the soundboard to turn off the microphone.
I'm sure it was...
Also, why was there a microphone?
Yeah,
That's
why
the
was
next
there a
question.
mic-
Why was there a microphone that somebody allowed this girl to take and start singing this weird song?
Yeah,
into?
I'm sure it was, like, in Israeli or whatever. I'm sure it was, like, an actual song.
It was probably in Hebrew, yeah, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe that's what the language is called.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
But, like, did she, like, bring it in? Like, some people bring, like...
No.
family
They
photo?
showed her taking a microphone from somebody
Yeah,
else.
what? Did they have, like, a karaoke machine?
Well, no, obviously it had to be louder than the karaoke.
Yeah,
machine.
so what the
It
fuck?
had they had stadium speakers.
Yeah, what-
maybe they were using that to like tell people like, oh, stand in line.
Yeah, so she's just like, I'm gonna sing, fuck it.
I'm gonna sing really loud.
Now's my chance to make it
I'm
big.
gonna be the next Jerusalem Idol.
Yes! Oh, I love that show.
So
she's singing, and...
she's singing, and everybody's like joining in, and Brad Pitt's like, no, they gotta be quiet, because outside the wall, they don't see it yet, but we see it. Outside the wall, the zombies are like freaking out and trying to climb the wall.
Yeah, but
and they're like in like a big like stack, like barrel of monkeys.
Yeah,
they're like climbing on top of
It's
each
not
other.
even like a pile. It just turns into like a pipe of them, just going straight up. Like that.
Yeah,
is
it's like
insane.
a big pile at the bottom, and then it thin.
It's super
it's like,
quickly
It's like they're
turns
doing
into-
like a cheerleader pyramid of zombies
Yeah.
up to the top of the
But
thing.
it turns from like, okay, so a pyramid would be like 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. This is like 4, then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, this is like 50,000 of them at the bottom, 150 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1,
Yeah.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way up.
It's so insane.
So,
But also, there's like helicopters flying around. The helicopters don't. First of all, the helicopters would be louder than this fucking PA, and the zombies aren't following
nah,
them.
man, they got a banging PA system.
But like, so the helicopters would have seen this. They don't say anything. Brad Pitt's the one who fucking notices it, of course.
Zombies get up over the wall
Yeah.
and start falling in and start falling on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the military starts shooting them all. The helicopter flies around. Like, it turns into chaos again.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we got to get Brad Pitt to the airport so he can fly out of here.
Yeah.
And go...
He's with a couple of Israeli soldiers.
I forget where they're going at this point. Oh, he was going to try and go to India.
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah.
is what it was.
Yeah.
To talk with because he thinks Patient Zero's in India.
Yeah.
So he, the Israeli soldiers are like escorting him.
Yeah.
They're fighting zombies the whole way. They get into like this room and they're fighting zombies.
Yeah.
And the Israeli woman soldier gets
Yeah.
bit in the hand.
Yeah.
To which Brad Pitt doesn't even think about it. Another rash decision here.
A great one.
Grabs her machete
Uh-huh.
and just cuts off her hand.
Oh, it's so great. It's so
She's
great.
like standing there. She's like, "Oh my god!" Like freaking out, and he just within like 2 seconds goes,
Yeah, if that even.
wham, cuts her hand off, and then just
Clean
starts
off.
counting. He goes 1,000,
Yeah.
2,000, 3
Yeah.
1,000, like the 12-second thing again.
Yeah.
Even though in South Korea he was told it took 10
Yep.
minutes for people to change.
Yep, he told there were different accounts, which that is so dumb to do.
He's like, "Nope, 12 seconds."
They say 5 to 10 minutes, but that has no other point.
No.
There's no other point to that other than that it conflicts his story and it fucks up every decision he's made. Or every
Yes.
zombie-related decision he's made.
So he cuts off her
Turning.
hand and like bandages it up real quick.
It's great. He's like, no, relax. You're not turning. You're fine. But he
He's-
just cut her hand.
Yeah,
She's screaming.
She's screaming. She's like, "Ah!" And he's like, "No, you're not turning into a zombie. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm Brad Pitt."
He just cut her fucking hand off.
So he ends up. You end up seeing his pilot takes off and
Yeah,
leaves
he
him
fucks
there.
off.
So they end up getting to the airport after like a helicopter crashes and all kinds of crazy shit goes on.
Yeah.
They end up getting to the airport, to which they stop a commercial airline
Yeah.
flight. Belarus Airlines. They stop the commercial airline flight, and a ladder drops down from the cockpit,
Yeah.
which they climb up to get into the plane.
Huh?
I don't think that there's a ladder that drops down in a commercial airplane to the ground.
Yeah, I don't know either, but
I don't know if there is, or I don't know enough about airplanes to dispute it.
tweet at us.
But if you're an airline pilot, tweet at us, please.
Although they might not be able to tell us. It might be one of those secret things. Like how they have beds in there.
Well, and they shouldn't have showed it if it was secret.
Well, the World War Z doesn't care. They're just trying to make a quick buck off the title of a book.
So they get into this plane, and this plane is roomier than any airplane that I've ever fucking been on.
Yeah.
And I've been on quite a few planes. I travel a lot for my work. And this airplane was gigantic. There was like...
It was very big.
There were like 2 seats. The aisle was like 4 seats wide. It was huge. And then like 2 seats in the middle, and then like another 4 foot wide, like a 4... seat wide aisle, and then like another 2 seats. And I'm like, no plane is ever that big.
It was pretty big.
Ever. Because airlines are trying to shove as many people as they can to make the most money.
Well, maybe Belarus is more... They care more.
Belarus is the greatest, the nicest airline in the... Belarus budget airline is the nicest airline of any of them.
Yeah, it's a pretty good airline.
Even nicer than American Airlines.
Yep.
America. The only country that matters.
Wait, there's more countries in the whole world? Huh.
So they
So it's just him and I think her name is Surga, the Israeli soldier.
Yeah, something like that. Something with an S.
I just think just because I can kind of remember her name.
Krav Maga, that's her name.
No.
Her name's Krav Maga.
So
he's there with Krav Maga.
It's just him and Surga, and he like gives his AR-15 or whatever.
They dropped it down the hole.
Yeah.
Why? They like took it from him when he was up and walking into the plane.
Yeah.
And like they took it and threw it down on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you don't fucking need this.
Why?
And so they're on the plane. He says to a stewardess, like, "Oh, where are we going to?" No, well, I'm sorry, not stewardess. They're not stewardesses anymore. Flight attendants.
Fucking sexist.
So they.
You make me sick.
He talks to this flight attendant.
That's like the 10th worst thing you said today.
And they're like, "Oh, where are you going?" And she was like, "Well, we were supposed to be going here.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a plan of where we're going now."
Yeah.
And he gets like a phone call from the guy at
the
UN, and hands the phone over to the pilots, and they come up with like a plan of where they're going.
Yeah.
And so then he goes back to Surga to Krav Maga, and goes and gets a bunch of vodka out of the bar area. And gives her, like, one of the little bottles of vodka, and she's drinking it, and he's like, "All right, well, now I gotta clean your wound."
Yeah, he's like...
Meanwhile, the plane is, like, filled with people, and her hand is just missing. So, like, there'd be all, like, fucking muscle and shit, like, exposed, and veins and blood.
Gross.
It would be disgusting.
And you were joking about how, like, if the guy next to her was just like...
Yeah, if the guy next to her was like...
what the fuck are you doing? Go do that in the bathroom.
That's what he should have done. He shouldn't have done it right out in the middle of the area. First off, it's not clean there. Second off, there wasn't nearly as much blood as there should have been.
Yeah, there was
for someone's hand.
There was no blood.
There was no blood at all.
There was no blood on that
It was creepy. It was like he superheated the machete with like a torch before he cut it off, and it cauterized instantly.
He used a lightsaber.
It was insane.
Yeah. But yeah, it was weird. There was. I'm thinking back. I don't think there was a drop of blood on that bandage. I don't think there was.
So he unwraps it. Takes vodka and he like splashes it on his hands
like hand sanitizer, but it's just vodka.
There we go, it's vodka on my hands, and then takes a bottle of vodka, pours it on the wound, and then wraps it up in a band. Like slaps a band-aids on it, and then wraps it up a little bit better.
Yeah.
At this point, there was a zombie in the bathroom.
Oh yeah. So some lady's got a dog, and the dog, which I don't think you're allowed to have your dog on your lap. Even if it's a service dog?
I mean, at this point, it's an
apocalypse
situation, so I doubt that they're enforcing...
Yeah, they're like, hey, put that dog back in the crate.
Hey, that dog goes in a goddamn crate!
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
No, service dogs are allowed to sit at your feet on an airplane. It can't sit on your lap.
Yes. So the lady falls asleep, and in a dumb, contrived way, the dog walks over to a closet. Oh, well, actually, the dog doesn't matter, because the lady opens the door.
Yeah, the lady goes over and opens up the door, and there's a zombie inside and attacks her. They're in, like, coach... Yeah. Where this all happens, so like zombies are all attacking people in coach.
We've already seen zombies are attracted to noise. This plane is very noisy. The zombie is just right behind a door, and it's not making any noise. It's not trying to get in. It just is like hiding.
It's just hanging out.
It's another dumb contrived thing that they have to do because they're like, we gotta figure out how to fuck something up.
So they
like I said, it's just all coincidences.
That's pretty much what this whole movie was based on. So they're so in coach they're all getting attacked by zombies.
Yeah.
So in like middle class where Brad Pitt is, they look back and they see that happening. So he goes quietly. He goes stack up all the luggage in front of the doorway so the zombies can't get through. Yeah. We saw a zombie take a fucking door off the hinges that was locked.
Yeah.
And he's like, just stack luggage there. It'll be fine.
Put your t-shirts in front of the door.
Yeah, so they stack luggage, and one of the idiots drops the luggage bag beyond the thing, and it smacks on the floor, and the zombie turns, and then freaks out, and comes and runs, and smashes through the luggage. People are getting attacked there and stuff now. Krav Maga has her gun, and she starts shooting zombies with her pistol.
If you don't know Krav Maga is the Israeli martial art style. It's actually not that racist to say.
No, it's not. It's not racist to say at all.
That's why I'm explaining it, so people don't think you're just saying a racist word or something.
No. It's not racist at all.
In case people don't know what Krav Maga is.
It's just easier than trying to say her actual name,
well,
which
is
Surga or whatever. Segan.
Segan? Where is she?
S-E-G-E-N.
Oh, yeah, Segan. Okay.
So Krav Maga.
So Segan
is shooting zombies. Brad Pitt has a hand grenade.
Oh my god, she has it.
She has it, and he takes it, and crouches behind these seats.
Ducks them in a corner.
And looks around and pulls the pin on the hand grenade while they're in an airplane up in the air and throws it. And then it blows up. Blows a huge fucking hole in the side of the airplane.
And he doesn't take it and throw it as far back as he can.
No, he throws it 15 feet from where he is.
The hole is literally 2 feet behind him.
Yeah.
The huge hole is literally 2 feet behind him.
Starts sucking all the zombies out of the plane.
Yeah, and they're fine.
So,
they're not getting sucked out.
Starts sucking all the zombies out.
Yeah.
He gets her into the thing and seatbelts her in.
Suck all day, pop all night.
Suck all day. And sock 'em dry.
Yeah, sock 'em boppers.
Suck 'em dry. Sucking me dry.
That's a reference from another movie, everyone.
That's a reference from Day of the Dead Bloodlines. If you haven't listened to that, go listen to Day of the Dead Bloodlines. That's a good one.
But don't watch it.
Spoiler alert. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
So he's sucking all the zombies right out of the plane with the big hole they put on it.
Kim Jong-un is doing it.
Kim Jong-un is sucking all the zombies out of the plane. Thank you, dear leader, for sucking all the zombies. So he gets into the seat and puts his seatbelt on.
Yeah.
And the pilots are like, what the fuck?
Because
everything was going normal, and then all of a sudden, they just lose cabin pressure. And the two guys in the front are like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, we're going down.
And then an explosion happens.
And so they end up smashing down to a forest.
Yeah.
But smash face first into it. The whole front of the plane comes off and tumbles around.
Well, they're dead.
The only two survivors of the plane crash are Brad Pitt and Krav Maga.
Yeah.
So they
luckily, I mean, they're the only ones who knew he was about to blow up.
Brad Pitt gets stabbed through his side, through his kidney with a sharp piece of metal.
Yeah.
Krav Maga helps him. They kind of walk along, and it looks like they're in a European town.
Yeah, it looks like Scotland or something.
Yeah, it looks like Scotland or Ireland or some European town. And so they're walking through, and they get to the World Health Organization research building is what it says.
Yeah.
It says WHO Research Building.
Yeah.
So it's populated by the members of the band The Who.
Yep.
And they just sing "Who Are You" the entire time.
Yeah, it was great.
That's how they interrogate Brad Pitt.
Oh my god, this scene is so dumb.
So he collapses in the front of the thing. Krav Maga gets people inside. They help him. They have him tied down to a bed.
Yeah.
And they're he wakes up and he's all confused.
Yeah, he's a
and
little groggy and tied down. But
and they're oh, it's been 3 days or whatever since you got here. They're what are you doing here?
Yeah, they're really grilling.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
They do Batman voice.
Yeah, and they're in the shadows and it's so.
What are you doing?
But no,
where is he?
It's so dumb. They're the World Health Organization. It's a research lab, and they're interrogating him it's the zombie apocalypse. What the fuck do you think he's doing there? He's either there just because he's stranded out in the wild or whatever, and he's here's a building I need to go inside. There's zombies. Or he's going there because he's hey, I'm trying to do something about zombies. What did he even do?
Option 3.
Be Mike the Dick and go.
I was going to say, or option 3, I'm there to stick my dick in all the diseases.
Do they think he's there for nefarious purposes? Well, the zombie apocalypse going on. I better
get smallpox.
Do you think terrorists are going to be active during the zombie apocalypse? No, they're probably going to take a break from terrorizing people to not die.
Probably not. That'd be the best time to strike. No one could stop you.
But
there's no rules on airplanes at that point. You can sit with a dog on your lap and throw hand grenades in the back of the airplane. Nobody checks anything.
You can sit with a dog on your lap and throw hand grenades.
You can do any of these things.
Two analogous things.
You can hide in a closet. Nobody checked this closet throughout the entire flight.
But yeah,
those are two things you can do.
Yeah. But it's just like it's so like overly dramatic. Like they're like, "What are you doing here? We need your credentials." And it's like, "Shut up!"
So like he
relax.
calls like on the satellite phone,
Yeah.
to the UN guy,
Yeah.
and the
He
UN
picks
guy's
up,
like, "Oh,"
not
he's
the
like,
wife.
"Yeah." He picks up, and the UN guy goes, "Oh, we haven't heard from you. Like we thought you were dead." And he's
Yeah.
like, "No." He's like, "Can you give these guys my credentials?" Blah 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 blah. And he's like, "Oh, of course." He's like, "I'm blah 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 from the UN."
Yeah.
He's like, "Wait a second. Why didn't my wife pick up the phone?
Yeah.
Where's my wife?
Yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
This is where he starts doing his. What's it? What? Where's my wife?
Yeah,
Where's my wife?
Yeah, so he started doing that again.
And so they.
Where's my wife?
He's like, "Where am I?" And so they.
So he's like, "Sorry, dude, we had to kick him off."
He's like, "Listen, we kicked your wife off of the boat because we
we
hadn't heard from you.
because we thought you died for us.
We thought you were dead for us, so we kicked your wife and kids off
like,
the boat."
come on, it's 3 people or 4 people because it's the wife and kids and the little Hispanic boy.
So he
like,
talks
what
to
a
them.
shitty move. Like,
He
well, your father died in action for us, but well, bye. You're
So-
no use to us now.
He talks to them and he's like, "Listen," he's like, "I have a theory." He's like, "Where the zombies aren't going after anybody that's sick."
Yeah.
He's like, "Because I saw zombies run around people like water goes around like a rock."
Yeah.
He saw it 2 times. We've seen it like 3 times.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I think."
It's kind of a leap, but whatever.
Yeah, he's like, "I think that when people are sick, the zombies don't attack them."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Well, we can test that theory because we have a ton of diseases. We're
Yeah.
the World Health
Like
Organization."
if you have a life-threatening illness, a terminal illness, they
Yeah.
won't attack you. If you have the
So-
cold, they'll probably go after you.
So like Charlie Sheen would be okay. Magic Johnson's fine.
Yep. Jeez.
Who else has AIDS?
Oh boy. Hey, Magic Johnson does not have AIDS.
He has HIV. I think Charlie Sheen actually has HIV too.
Oh, you idiot.
Who has...
Don't look it up. This is tasteless enough. Anyways, so essentially he's thinking like, I'm just getting nervous because I see him still typing on the computer and looking at things, and he's going to say something awful. So he's like, okay, I need a terminal illness to see if zombies will try to kill me or not, because that will do something. That'll help us out. So like, yeah, the only problem is all of the diseases are in B-Wing, and
That's locked up with 80 zombies.
it's locked up with 80 zombies, and they show why the zombies are in there, because the rest of this like whole town is like zombie free basically. Like they're walking through the streets at one point and it's empty, and you just see like a cute old lady like open up her curtain to like look at them and then close it, like just like she would do if it was like a noisy neighbor, like those
Yeah.
kids. I thought that was funny.
That is true.
So there's no zombies anywhere except here, and the reason there's zombies here, they show him, is that the researchers who work with terminal deadly infectious diseases are so incompetent that one
That he cuts himself and gets zombie blood
Yes.
in his cut.
while he's working, he cuts his hand and gets zombie blood inside it in like a second.
You know why? You know why they're incompetent? Because it's not the United States Center for Disease Control. It's
Yeah.
the World Health Organization.
U.S. would have gotten it.
The United States wouldn't have spread the zombie apocalypse all
God.
around their lab.
It's like, come on, man. It could have been anything.
So there's 80 zombies in this wing now, and they have to get there to get the diseases.
Yeah, they have it totally blocked off, and the only access is by the sky bridge, which is just like a big hallway.
But all the zombies are in a dormant state because there's
Yeah.
no stimulus going on around them. So they're like typical zombies at this point.
Yeah, like not moving.
But like if they hear noise or like see something, they're gonna freak out, and
Yeah.
all the zombies are gonna go after them. So they go into this wing.
It's 3 of them who
There's
go in.
3 of them that
Brad
go
Pitt,
in.
obviously.
Brad Pitt, Krav
Sagan,
Maga, and some nerd.
Yeah, and one of the doctors or
One
whatever.
of the nerds. They have a crowbar, an axe, and a baseball bat.
Yes, and they had a gun, and Brad Pitt's like, no, don't bring the gun, it'll draw noise, and Sagan takes it.
Yeah, Krav Maga takes the gun.
Yeah.
And Krav Maga, they give her a baseball bat.
Yeah.
The worst one-handed weapon you could
got
possibly
one
have.
hand.
She has one hand, and they're like, here's a bat that you definitely need 2 hands
It
to
would
be
be
effective with.
Just right now, imagine swinging a bat. It would be so awkward to swing a fucking baseball bat. Like, they don't have a hammer
It would be
something
hard
else.
to swing a baseball bat and actually kill something
Yes.
with one hand.
You would,
You
like-
could swing a baseball bat and
Yeah.
like hit somebody. It
Yeah.
wouldn't hurt very bad because you can't get a lot of power behind it.
Yeah.
But like, because like to swing a baseball bat effectively, you need to put your whole body into it.
Yeah.
You need both hands, like
Just
swinging a battle axe.
because of the way it's made.
Yeah.
There are plenty of like heavy things she could have that would work better.
the
Like,
crowbar would have been
the
better.
crowbar would have been better because it's shorter, or a hammer, or like a ton of shit.
So,
but whatever. It's
at one point, Brad Pitt spooks one of the zombies. The zombies coming after him.
Oh yeah, and I was like, hey, how about she doesn't go because she's got one hand.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So he spooks one of the zombies.
Yeah.
They like sneak around. They're doing sneaky stuff.
Yeah.
They're being real sneaky.
They're sneaking around.
Doing real sneaky
Like,
things.
they're doing a few things where, like, oh, they make a little bit of noise, and there's some and the zombies
Brad
are like...
Pitt walks on glass really loud like a fucking dick.
Yeah, he kicks a soda can at one point. He's like, whoops, dude. And then he starts walking on glass. He's like, "Doi!" Like,
they open up the creakiest door ever.
I wrote down what you said. Because the one doctor opens a door, and you go, way to open up the creakiest door. It's just so funny.
So, Brad Pitt ends up spooking one of the zombies.
Yeah.
And it comes running after him. And instead of using one of the
melee
weapons,
they open the door and he sticks his axe in it to keep it open.
Yeah.
So it doesn't creak again.
So instead of using one of the other melee weapons they have, a bat or a crowbar,
one zombie that is running at them. Only one zombie here.
Krav Maga steps around the corner and goes bang, and he shoots the zombie in the head.
Yeah.
To which all the zombies now wake up and freak out and start coming after them. They end up splitting up. Krav Maga and the nerd end up going back to side A.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt ends up leading a bunch of the zombies around, gets into like this one area, like clotheslines the one zombie and stabs it in the head with a crowbar.
Yeah, he basically blocks off most of them. Like, he goes through a door and locks it, and only like one zombie gets in, and so there's only a few zombies after him or around him at this point.
And then he trips another zombie and it falls headfirst into the wall. And like fucking compacts its head in. It was a cool looking thing. So he smashes its head with a crowbar.
Yeah, so he hits the first zombie, and the crowbar gets stuck in him, and he like can't get it out while the zombie's running at him. Like, we're supposed to be like, oh no, is he gonna get it out in time? Oh, whoops.
He did. He got it out in time.
Yes, I know. As soon as I said, I was just like, whoops, that sounds weird.
Is he gonna get it out in time?
Yeah, so he gets it out right in time.
So
whatever. So he makes his way towards the infection.
Pull-out game strong. Brad Pitt's pull-out game is strong. But not strong enough, because the zombie almost got him.
Oh, okay.
So, they,
I wasn't sure what to do with that.
So they end up going to,
Yeah.
He ends up getting to where the diseases are, and walks up, and the first door just opens automatically for him, just...
It just opens automatically, and
he walks right in.
Front, it's like, warning, biohazard, like,
you would think it would be locked
this
down.
room will fucking kill you. Yeah.
And then he gets to, like,
or at
the
least you have
vault
to, like,
that's
turn a knob
inside,
to open it.
and looks at it, and there's, like, a keypad next to it.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, touching the keypad and doing anything, he looks at his crowbar, he's like, I'm gonna smash this window to get
He's
inside.
immediately like, okay, I'm gonna smash this window.
And
doesn't look around the room
a phone
at all.
rings.
Yeah.
And he picks up this phone that's behind him, and it's a woman, and she tells him the code.
Yeah.
So he walks over, types in the code, walks in, the door closes behind him, and...
Why doesn't she tell him what to get?
She doesn't tell him what to get.
Why not?
Who knows?
Like,
because it's more exciting this way.
Yes.
Because of what comes up. So he walks over and opens up, dumps out like a container, and walks over to where all the diseases are. Just starts grabbing random diseases. Yeah. And the one doctor's like, no, not that one.
Yeah.
Like, that one will kill me instantly.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, not that one. So he mixes all the diseases up in this box.
I guess in his mind, he's like, oh, I'm going to take them all back to the other doctors.
Yeah. So he gets over to the door, and there's a zombie blocking the door now.
Yeah.
It's standing right at the door and, like, fucking with him.
And
so he goes...
This is one of the points when the zombies' stupidness comes, like, so forward.
Because it's like a gopher.
They
and
look
starts
so
chattering
dumb,
its
and
teeth.
they're just chattering their teeth, like... It's like, oh, God. Like, I felt embarrassed for the filmmakers and the actors who were being zombies. I was just like, ugh, this is what you chose? Chattering teeth monsters? Okay.
So he looks around, gets a syringe, and picks a random disease out of the box. The doctor's like, I hope he doesn't take any that he took off from the left, because then he's dead.
Yeah. And also,
so picks a random disease and gets the thing and injects himself with it.
Yeah.
But also writes up on a piece of paper, tell my wife and kids I love them. He could have written like, hey, tell me if I'm choosing a good one.
Yes.
And hold that up to the thing and be like, call the phone if I chose a good disease to use.
Call the phone to if this is a good disease, or like call the phone, let it ring this many times.
Call the phone, distract the zombie, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because he left the crowbar outside.
Yeah.
There's options where he doesn't have to just inject himself with a definitely fatal disease, possibly highly contagious.
Possibly fatal immediately.
Possibly fatal almost immediately or immediately. Possibly incurable. Like,
so he chooses a random disease
yeah.
and injects himself with it, and then just kind of like sits there.
So no one knows what he took. So he could at this moment have a incurable, highly contagious disease. I just want to point that out.
Could have AIDS.
He could.
He could have injected himself with AIDS.
Well, that's not like contagious. Like
it's incurable though.
Yes, my point is, when he goes back to them, he could have a highly contagious disease.
If he tried to bang all those people, then they're all going to have
stop
AIDS.
it. I'm trying to make a point. Yes, that would be bad because who wouldn't bang him?
Who would not bang Brad Pitt?
Don't know.
There's the real question.
That is the question this movie asks.
Who would not?
Sometimes movies ask important questions.
Who would not bang
This movie
Brad
asked,
Pitt?
who would not bang Brad Pitt?
So,
We never got an answer.
No,
and
we
maybe
didn't.
that is the answer.
that no one wouldn't bang.
My point is, he could have a highly contagious, incurable disease that he just breathes in the room that they're all in when he goes back, and they could all get it, and they all die. That's the point I'm making. No? Is that...
All right, so...
You love that?
So... I mean, whatever. It was the risk. He
Yeah.
took a risk.
I know,
He's
but-
made lots of rash decisions so far. This is the
Yeah.
least rash decision I think he's made so far.
No, it's not.
He cut off a woman's hand without knowing what was going to happen.
Well, she was definitely
He
going
was going to jump off a roof.
Those are both make more sense than this decision. This is his worst decision.
He injected himself with a random disease.
Yeah, that's the decision we're talking about. You can't use it to compare to itself.
I can.
You know what's worse than injecting yourself with a random disease? Injecting yourself with a random disease. That's way worse. So, I'm just gonna... I mentioned that just so I can bring it up later. So there's a zombie out there. He waits a little bit, and then he opens the door.
And the zombie, like, walks, like, in his face, and it's, like, all crazy at first. And then, like, kind of, he walks right past it.
Yeah.
And the door closes behind him.
The zombie
and the zombie is, like,
pissy.
in the thing.
It's like, hey.
And now he walks up to the front. Now he's walking like this, like, this smug fucking look
he
on his
makes,
face,
like,
like, hey,
Yeah, he makes a
I'm
bu-
the man.
He makes a bunch of noise, so all the zombies run away from A-Wing, back towards B-Wing.
He does that by drinking a Pepsi.
Yeah, he drinks
at
a
a Pepsi machine.
Yep.
And then hits a button and drops all the cans on the floor.
Yeah.
And then all the zombies run, and he's like
Yeah.
walking through the group
That's
of
what I wanted
zombies,
to say.
like walking like he's like fucking Conor McGregor,
Yeah.
walking like doing the arm flail.
He's so confident, but he is currently infected with a terminal illness.
Yeah, a terminal
He
illness.
doesn't know what it is.
Doesn't know.
You're too confident, buddy.
So he has this terminal illness now.
Yeah.
And they go back to the thing. They inject him with something else. I guess it's the cure for the
They
terminal
must have
illness.
figured out what it is.
Who knows?
But they should have been like, hey, buddy, don't come in here. We don't know what you have. You could fucking kill us all. They should have taken precautions as the
Hold
World
the
Health
vial
Organization.
up to the window
Yes.
that you use.
Yes.
So they end up going to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And he meets up with his family there, his wife and his daughters and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's like a voiceover, a dumb voiceover about
How we're
we should
fighting back
fight
and
and we were
blah,
fighting
blah,
back
blah.
and blah 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 blah. And they ship smallpox to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone now has smallpox. So
It's
that's
some
the
sort of, I think it's some sort of like variant of smallpox where it's technically like a terminal
so
illness. That
everyone in the world has smallpox now.
They show a scene where it's like a third world country and
They
they're
show
dropping it off.
they show a scene, a kid, they're dropping it off, and a kid like runs over and like picks it up.
Yeah, it's definitely like an impoverished country, like
Picks it up and
pre-zombie
looks at
apocalypse.
it, and
He
I
looks
was
back
like-
at camera.
And looks back at the camera, like, and it's supposed to be like, oh look, they're dropping everything off. And I said to Casey, I was
He
like,
looks
I bet you that kid was fucking pissed because it wasn't food.
Yeah,
Kid's like, what the fuck? I can't eat this.
yeah, because it was definitely like a country that was impoverished before
It was
the
like
apocalypse.
Mexico. It looked like Mexico.
No, it looked like I don't know somewhere. I mean, some parts of Mexico maybe, but yeah, it was just like he like looked back at the camera like, what the fuck?
I think it was like Flint, Michigan.
could have been. It could have been.
Really, the real solution here is just live in Flint, Michigan,
Yeah,
and
zombies-
then the zombies are not going to fuck with you because you
Why?
probably have terrible lead poisoning.
We're so mean to Flint, Michigan. I don't know why. I know we don't have any listeners there, but
They should have better water.
yeah, it's their choice. I think.
Idiots.
What are they thinking?
Allowing fracking, idiots. That's what you get.
Yeah, I think they're against it mostly.
So, well, now they are.
Anyway, sorry, Flint, Michigan. As always, for some reason, sorry. As always.
We should just start all of our podcasts with "Sorry, Flint, Michigan." As always.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, the
and
whole
that was it.
voiceover is basically just to be like, "Hey, we can beat it now." But like we knew that he figured out what the problem was. We didn't need this voiceover. It was just 10 more minutes that I just wanted the movie to be over.
All in all, this movie had a budget, and I know it went over budget the first time,
Yeah.
of about $190 million.
Fuck.
This was almost a $200 million movie.
CGI was really bad in this.
Gross in the USA, it was barely profitable.
Okay.
$202 million.
All right.
In
not
the
bad.
U.S. Worldwide gross $540 million.
All right.
They've talked about having a sequel to this come out,
Yeah.
and on IMDb there is a spot for the sequel. Looks like
I'm gonna guess it's not happening.
Well, it looks like they had a director for it, but then the director had to back out to
not make Z2.
No, to direct Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
So it's a good director.
So he did that. He directed Jurassic World.
So instead of making
this
one
shit
turd,
show.
he makes another turd.
And Brad Pitt is attached to World War Z too. Like it's going to be his same character.
Well, I'm sure he's.
So I guess he didn't give himself AIDS.
Yeah, good.
Boy,
well, they cured him.
Yeah, so it can't be AIDS.
No.
Unless they gave him Magic Johnson's blood.
Yeah, isn't it just like liquefied money?
Yeah, just $10,000 cash liquefied keeps you alive.
You should watch South Park, everybody. It's pretty funny.
So, that was World War Z. I mean, like we said in the beginning, not a terrible zombie movie. A terrible movie.
Yeah.
But not a terrible zombie movie.
Yeah, if we're looking at it from zombie movie, we're like, it's fine.
It's an okay zombie movie.
I do want to say the dialogue was quieter than the ambient sounds, which was so fucking annoying. I was trying so hard the whole time to hear what people were saying. And that may have been your surround sound.
Yeah, it could have been.
I don't remember if it got better. You turned off surround sound.
I don't remember if it got better.
So I won't take that off. I won't take a point off for that.
It was it wasn't great. But it wasn't terrible.
What are you looking at pictures of?
I'm looking at pictures of the highest grossing zombie movies.
Oh, okay. It's just all random pictures. I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at?
They're all the highest grossing zombie movies of all time.
So, yeah, it was a fine movie. If you haven't seen it,
check it out. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
If you haven't seen it and it's like on, I probably wouldn't pay to see this. I actually don't pay to see this. But if it's on or whatever and you're like, I'm down for a zombie movie.
This was actually the highest grossing zombie movie of all time.
That's okay. I mean,
it's one of those things. I think it gets hate. I think it gets more hate than it deserves, in my opinion.
Maybe.
I think it doesn't deserve all the hate that it gets. Was it a good World War Z movie? No.
No, yeah.
Was it a good zombie movie? Kind of. It's not the worst zombie movie we've watched.
No. Oh, no. No. Yeah, we watched some stinkers. This one wasn't so bad. If it's on and you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't want to watch it and it doesn't sound that good, and you care about, like, logic, then don't watch it. Because, like, the logical shit was pissing me off so much.
Yeah.
And there's not that much fun action. It's a lot of, like, slow, tense, like, slow dramatic stuff.
Yeah. I'm
talking myself down a little bit. I think I have more fun just because we were watching it together. Which kind of, like, adds points to every movie we watch.
I mean, when I watched it the first time, I saw it in the movie theaters. And I remember coming out of it, and I was like, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And so that's what I said when we had it, because I owned it on DVD. I was like, we'll watch that. And you were like, you're like, I'm leaning towards World War Z. I'm like, all right, let's watch that, because I haven't seen it in a while. And from what I remember, it wasn't terrible. And from what we also remembered was Dawn of the Dead wasn't terrible.
So we were like, let's see.
Let's see if this holds up as well. And this held up way better than Dawn of the Dead did.
I definitely agree. It's definitely, like, miles ahead of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
I just, if you want to watch it, check it out. If you like...
Check it out!
Like I said, like, the logic was a problem for me. Wasn't super fun action. It was just like, whatever.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that brings us to the end of this week's podcast.
Yes, it does.
Important announcement that Zomboys is now on Instagram for our own Instagram.
Yeah, we have our own Instagram, and we have our YouTube channel now. So
if we also have our YouTube channel.
If YouTube is easier for you, feel free to subscribe there.
Casey is dealing with our YouTube channel side of things.
Yep, right now it's...
So if you have any complaints, complain to him.
Yep, please, I want to hear all of them.
If you have any complaints with iTunes or anything, fuck off, because that's my end of the spectrum, and I don't want to hear any of your goddamn complaints.
Yeah, so yeah.
Nerds and losers.
Yeah, you're a nerd for listening to a podcast, but we're not nerds for making one.
Not at all.
And I make two.
Nerds.
So yeah, the plugs are at ZomboysPod for Twitter and Instagram.
Yep.
I'm at AKCLynch on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm at Don't Fucking Worry About It.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really post there.
No.
I sell art, so if you're interested in that, you can find it on my Instagram. and the Etsy store.
Check out Casey's other podcast.
Yeah.
Trial by Pilot.
Yes.
There we go. 3 weeks in a row I've gotten it right.
You're fucking nailing
Woo,
it.
Suck it.
Although technically we did do 2 episodes in a row, so you just remembered one day.
Well, I mean,
so
so two weeks in a row I've remembered it.
2 days. You've remembered 2 days.
Well, we don't do it
I
day
know.
to day, so
I'm just fucking with you.
two weeks in a row I've remembered it.
I'm
so
giving you shit for recommending my podcast.
Trial by Pilot. You know what? Don't listen to Trial by Pilot. It's a pile of shit. No, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's me, my brother, and my sister-in-law, and we talk about new pilots that are coming out, judge the TV shows solely based on them. It's definitely less offensive than this show. We don't have to apologize to Flint, Michigan every week. So yeah, check that out.
And,
check it out.
That's a Steve Brule reference.
Yes,
everyone.
it is. Let's get the fuck out of this episode.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget, there's gold in them hills.
Sorry, Flint.
And yeah, aim for the head was our other one.
Yeah.
And also yakety yak.
Yeah.
Don't talk back.
Oh yeah, and I'm Mr. Bucket.
I'm Mr. Bucket.
Should we play that? Oh, actually, also, check out the YouTube. I'm going to do a quick review of the movie Cargo that just came out. We didn't want to review it here because it's a dramatic movie, and we all know how Maggie turned out.
Oh.
So, yeah. So check out YouTube for like a quick 5-minute, spoiler-free just review of that. All right.